Teresa was one wily lady, a little bit politically incorrect, very enduring, and a master, like a black belt in the art of the reframe. This picture is from my time in an orphanage in Mexico, even before Japan. That was a long time ago. And while I was there, I think I got reset into the kind of permaculture designer I wanted to be. There's 3 criteria for becoming one of Mother Teresa's sisters. Can you imagine what they'd be? Saintliness, virtue, discipline, ability to not procrastinate. Sound of body, sound of mind, and joyful. That's what Mother Teresa required. I'm sitting there one day and there's all this big excitement. Who turns up on the doorstep? It's Mother Teresa, here in Mexico. So we got to hang out. It was just before she had a heart attack. Nothing to do with me. Here's some stories about how Mother Teresa operated. I can't see everyone in the audience. How about some lights on these lovely people? Oh, that's better. A young man wanted an interview, a journalist. So he turned up and she said, "Hello, here's a broom." She picked up a broom of her own. They swept the floor and chatted. He got his interview. She got her clean floor. What a permaculturalist. This is how she gave instructions. "Sister Agnes, tomorrow I'd like you and Sister Maria to go to the next village. You'll have to get up early and find people who are suffering and give them succor." "Certainly, Mother. How far is it to the next village?" And here's the reframe. "Oh, it's about 4 rosaries." How beautiful is that? It's not 4 hours trudging in dust and heat, feeling like you're in a really frightening world. It's 4 rosaries of congenial company and the rhythm and the beautiful language, and it's the world that they can be in just by a little mental reframe. So I'm a permaculture designer, and this means that I make ecosystems. Actually, ecosystems make themselves. Just I do a little bit of helping out, so there's also a little bit of surplus for me. So my job's something like this. I'll say, "Oh, you're doing very well, but you need a bit more help. And you little plant, you're very resourceful, but you're all alone. How about we put you 2 together? And together, they're better." Permaculture's about going with, not against, the way nature is, about understanding the nature, the strengths and weaknesses of each creature, and combining them so that together they're strong. So I became a permaculture designer, and I became enamoured of the Japanese culture at the same time, both when I was 22. And I did it partly to save the world, because that's a fun way to spend your life, but mostly to save myself. Because my mind, it's unruly. As a kid, everyone else knew what day of the week it was. I didn't. This is what it was like for me, trying to get things done when I was younger. "Cecilia," myself would say to my mind, "go do your homework." "No, make me." And myself would say, "I can't. Self, mind, we're in trouble." Now, thanks to permaculture, design tricks, the reframe, Japanese culture, my mind and myself, we're like an old married couple. We look after each other, we make allowances for each other. I'll say, "Mind, go do your homework," and my mind will say, "Inspire me." And myself will say, "Okay," and it'll go and do something in the real world and come back and say, hey, mind, I made you a lovely balcony garden you can go and study in, and I've arranged volunteers to come and live with us so that you can have a nice house, get your food growing, and I've bought Tansel's book on how to not forget the kanji, so the study will all be worth it. And my mind says, self, I love you, and things go well. So my message today is how we can rearrange our physical surroundings and reframe our thinking so that what we should do becomes what we want to do. Walking 4 hours to the next town becomes a delight. It's not about... Because there's a default flow that we're usually on, and it might be, I must protect my time, or I must keep away from people that hurt me like dentists. And that default flow is sometimes hard to get out of, but when you get good at the reframe, you find you can hop on to another lane in the highway of your brain. Because there's lots of flows in different directions. You've just got to find it. Like Mother Teresa found the one about the reframe, about what mental place you could be in while you're walking in the hot sun. Dr. Tooth is a gerontologist in Tasmania and a great permaculturalist. He may not actually have heard of the word permaculture, but that's okay because he is a master of using its principles, of going with, not against, the way people are, not forcing people to go the way you want them, wasting their energy and yours. You're in the same ecosystem. You can never win when you're forcing someone who's part of your life. He created a DARDS. This is a nursing home for special people, the violent elderly. These are people who had been kicked out of their nursing homes, and they faced the rest of their days with nowhere to live and no one who could manage them. And this was very sad, and Dr. Tooth knew it was very unnecessary. So he made a place where, just by being themselves, they'd be okay. Here are the kind of things that he did. There was one old lady, every day at 3:30, she'd get antsy. She'd get difficult. She'd get a bit scary. I've got to pick up my son. It's time to go to school. You can't stop me. He's waiting. This is what Dr. Tooth did. He made a bus stop in the garden. She'd go and sit in the bus stop at 3:30. She'd sit in the sun. I'm going to visit my son, she'd tell passers-by. The sun would go down. She'd get a bit hungry. Why am I here? And she'd walk in for dinner. Problem solved. Dr. Tooth realised that he saw the time of day that ladies in particular were most difficult, rambunctious, edgy. What time do you think it was? It was dinner time. It was at the end of the day. When they were young, this is when they were most powerful. They were taking care of families, cooking dinner. So this is what he did. He freed up the nurses' time in other areas and said, we are cooking dinner with these ladies. They're going to help us. They're going to be useful and powerful. He redesigned the kitchen so that the gas was at the back, the sharp knives are away, you could pick up the casserole dishes. And there they were in the smells and aromatherapy of their heyday when they were powerful. They don't have to be scared now. The nurses were wasting a lot of time because the residents would be rummaging in all their things, unfolding their washing. But you can't keep them from their stuff. They've lost so much in their life. This is what Dr. Tooth did. He painted, you can see in the bottom corner, half the wardrobe looks like a wall. You can't really see the handle. It's painted white. And the other half's obviously a wardrobe. The nurses get their free time. People get to rummage to their heart's content. That's permaculture. That's going with, not against, the way people are. Changing your surroundings to change what happens to your brain. It's wonderful being at this conference because we're like a patchwork of speakers, and some speakers will say, it's so much easier to change your brain than change the exterior, and then for me, it's so much easier to change your outside world than change your brain. But really, where do we end? And where does the outside world begin? We are part of each other's mind. Our environment is part of our mind. Let's do a little bit of homework. I've got a little bit of time to give you some of my basket of goodies. One of my jobs now is I go into people's homes and see what's not working for them and try to turn any part of their home that they find bleak or thorny or choked into something that's flourishing and comfortable. And I don't tell them to do anything. We'll take 10 photos of what you find beautiful and 10 photos of what you find unbeautiful, and just let's encourage more of this and let's have a little bit less of this. They see their house for the first time. They see what their style is for the first time. Oh, I'm a red and green kind of woman, or whatever it might be. So here's a few tricks I'll share with you that have helped in my life. Here we go. Choose your flow. This is a picture of my heater switch in my Melbourne house when I had one. One day I turned on the heater. Then I noticed I'm wearing a t-shirt and I'm a permaculture designer. What if someone found out? And then, because I'm a permaculture designer and we don't blame or complain, we observe. I observe myself. What's going on here, Cecilia? I'm trying to save my own energy. The jumpers are all upstairs. My energy's a non-renewable resource too. The world has limited amounts of me. So I then did a design. Got all my jumpers and woolies and put them under the switch. Reaching for the switch is just as easy as reaching for a blanket. Fair choice. And then, as a byproduct, all my housemates were reaching for the woolies. I didn't have to say a word. When you get yourself right, everything around you goes right all by itself sometimes. Here's another trick I learned from Japan. Start in the middle. Humans hate beginning things. We like to keep doing what we're already doing. We're a conservative kind of animal because what we've been doing hasn't killed us, so let's just keep doing it. Starting things is hard. So don't start things. In this design, when you see your plants are thirsty, you pick up the full jug of water, which is always beside your plants because they're a family. You water the plants, and while it's still in your hand, you fill it up and you put it back, ready to start next time. I'm an illustrator, so I know if I stop drawing when it's too hard, I won't want to go back. So I set an alarm, and when the alarm rings, I stop. And it's usually right when I want to keep going, but I stop, and then I really want to get back to it. Which of those two do you want to do when you get home? You're only allowed to do one of my little nuggets of usefulness. So choose wisely. And you've got to tell someone in the break which one you're picking. I took this picture in Japan. I couldn't believe it that I hadn't noticed this before. What's special about these suitcases in the airport? The handles are all faced out, so everyone can just in one go reach and succeed. I didn't realise until that moment that the whole country was like a Sixth Sense movie moment. I see dead people. Oh my God, the whole country is set up so that we can succeed, to make life easier for ourselves, because when you're Japanese, life is hard. You can set up your home so that the people around you succeed. Design so that the energies of your life flow slow and long through your days and your life can flourish. No big floods and droughts of emotion. Keep your adrenaline down. This is how Aussies open packets of breakfast cereal. Is this you? And for the next month, there's the sort of jaggedy edge of breakfast cereal package looking up at you. Your adrenaline goes up for about half an hour after you have that battle, which you always win and it always loses. But you forget that your home is full of your allies. They're on your side and they want to look after you. Use scissors. So here's the third thing you can do. Go home tonight, get scissors and put them on the bench. Use them for opening everything. Dong. Make your sink a shrine of beauty and love, and it will make washing dishes so much easier. Guard flowers. Shine it at night so it smiles at you when you wake up in the morning. Our new science has found that we have limited amounts of decision-making ability. It's a non-renewable resources. You get a certain amount in a day. Don't waste decisions on which Tupperware lid fits which Tupperware. Just make everything simplified. Reduce useless diversity. And how hard is it when you get home tired to open your pantry and see this as opposed to that? You just want to go and do takeaway. Apple Computer's design guideline taught me this one. When someone messes up, don't say, you have performed an illegal operation. Just let them know what you'd like them to do. Hey mate, could you wipe your feet before you come in? That will work really well. This is a Japanese sign. What do you think it says? Well, it actually says, it doesn't say no smoking. It says, please smoke where there is an ashtray, which is not here. I love the Japanese. Adjectives are dangerous. Don't use them. If you want to understand life, you can't manage life unless you're looking at it correctly, and adjectives will fuddle your mind. I used to think I was messy. What do I do about that? Then I looked very closely and I retitled it. Cecilia, you've got a hurry monster. After you take off your pyjamas, you think you have to drop them on the floor and do the next thing. You think you're not allowed to fold them because it's urgent. So you and your hurry monster better get a good relationship. So I tell it, hey monster, I'm going to manage this. We're going to have time. We'll be okay. The mess problem, now there's a little way I can solve it. Add more people I found to be the solution to all my problems. I can't motivate myself by myself, it's too much work. So I have volunteers who come into my house and my life and help me do the things I want to do. Beautiful Matt and Nikki are the ones who are here now. And here's a video that Matt just made showing a minute in my house, my permaculture house.
Of them are kind of weak in the knees. Learning late about the birds and the bees. Falling in love when they be set free. Playing ball at the age of 13. Everybody's going up with a dream. I never noticed what could happen to me. Time flies when you walk in the streets. 1 minute got you holding an ace. The next minute got you fall on your face. Mean City is a nasty place. Only a rat can win a rat race. Peace to the people who be falling away. Peace to make you home.
So I'll stop it there. But this is the life I always wanted to live. We're cooking, we're shopping, fresh vegetables. You can... A band are at our house. They're there. They were there this morning when we woke up. They'd played at the Opera House. I let them stay for free. The volunteers stay for free. It's an ecosystem and it works. It took me so many years to make this happen. And it started with getting the soil of my life right. The last question is, does water flow uphill all by itself without force and electricity and sending it there and it wanting to go back down? And the answer is, water runs uphill, but not quite all by itself. But it doesn't go downhill by itself either. That's gravity pulling it down. Water's a special molecule, the H, the 2 and the O. They love to hold hands with just one other molecule. So water goes like little strings of spaghetti. And when water sees a tree, it's like a doggy chasing a car. Up it goes. The reason it goes up is because way, way, way at the top of this chain of hand-holding molecules is one little Mother Teresa molecule at the leaf that just wants to evaporate. And she takes all the rest along with her. So it's my wish for you that you become the Dr. Tooth of your life, the Mother Teresa of your life. You reframe, rearrange, and you in your mind can fall in love.
By the time we're 60, more than 90% of us will have known someone close to us who has suffered from some sort of a neurological disorder.
You all know you're not going to live forever. There's only one way into this life and one way out.
I cannot prove to you anymore that anything is possible.
Talk about the marvelous thing that we now understand about our brains.
It gets so much better.